Welcome to the parody, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite movies. I'm not James A. Janice, and today we're looking at Blind Justice, released in 2018. Blind Justice is actually better than Hostage. And when the original was great, that's saying something. It has to do with the movie's excellent writing, a really nice blend of a tone that can basically be serious yet teeter into hilarity. Even better pacing than the original's excellent pacing. Animations that are basically on the same level as the original. And it's a really nice soundtrack, like, seriously. Listen to it. This time it's not about a heist, but stopping the Kingpin. But things go south when an explosion happens at the docks where the weapons the Kingpin uses are being sent to. In the Clarity-caused explosion, Jason gets blinded. But thanks to Dr. Frederick Marshall and the Enneagram Society, he can get his vision back. And then they all band together to stop the Kingpin. Yeah. How many people died in this Kingpin-fueled adventure? Let's find out and get to the kills. The movie begins on a train. This is where a younger Clarity is sitting. Apparently she's on a train with all these dangerous dudes. It's another guy from the last film, Will Mattis, aka Smoke, and he just sees Clarity sitting down on the train. And apparently this is the first time they meet. I really enjoy the first time Smoke and Clarity meet. Even though it goes on for like 4.5 minutes, I really enjoy it, although basically nothing happens. Basically, he just gives her a bar of chocolate, she seizes the gun, and in between that, there was a corruption conversation. Just ignore that conversation of corruption, because look at this, TATA card! In this state, 3 years later, we see Officer Jones in some kind of messed up shack, and hey, it's Clarity. What's up, girl? Apparently, she's just here to kill him and shoot him right between the eyes. He rejoices for a bit, but come on, you know, for that's not gonna work well. Apparently, if he says or does anything, he'll be dead. But he does say something, and that in turn just causes him to, you know, die as we get a fade into Jason's home. You know, still in bed and still grieving about his wife's death. Must be sad to lose your dearest wife. So hey, would you look at this? It's Rico from the first film. Hey! You know, good job, you found something on the case. Clarity cut! She's somewhere, probably in an apartment, doing some business! I wonder if Clarity's business plans are gonna be forwarded when we see whatever this is. No, just Jason and Rico driving, probably to the police station. No business in sight. And yeah, Rico, I've never seen such a true statement. I mean, your very last film, right? Protests, police stations. Hold on, wait a minute. Hey dude, what's up? We didn't see that much in Hostage, so it's glad to see you basically in the first 20 minutes here. So we've gotten more info on the case, and appears... Oh, he's talking about Officer Jones. Well, sad to tell you, but he's dead. But there's gonna be criminal activity at the docks later tonight, so y'all should stop that. It appears the call from Officer Jones came from a prepaid, which means that they need to find Officer Jones, and that's gonna be hard. And also, the weapons are coming from the docks. We're sorry. It appears they've confiscated at least 5 guns, but they all had no serial number. Now it's time to be deployed to the docks, which have a possibility of being in Canada, so that sucks. And it appears they're just camping outside in the car because whatever they'll find inside might not be good, so yeah, have a good look. And then they start having a conversation. A good conversation at that. It's about his late wife, but the conversation only ends when the rest of DPD gets there. It's time to storm the dock building, starting with all of these Roblox actors doing a phenomenal job. He can't even believe it. So these 11 SWAT officers are outside the building because, yeah, of course there's some shady stuff going on inside. They need to inspect that. So how about we go into white and boom, let's have all these Roblox actors do another phenomenal job at acting. They're apparently so good at acting that they can go through doors. They call in Jason and Rico just so they can get a handful of this body. But come on, it's obviously Officer Jones, who's been dead for probably around a day now. It's also because of that this is now an official crime scene. Something's not right here, because why would there be all of these barrels and crates around this specific dead body that they knew the police would eventually go around? It's because it's a bomb, which eventually nabs 12 kills, because yeah, all those people in there are pretty much dead. I got that number of 12 because of a newspaper in the Kingpin's home office. Thanks, Kingpin. Also, by the way, who caused this explosion? Oh, it was Clarity? Okay, I'm fine with that. Jason's also not included in that figure of 12 because somehow he's still alive. A short while later, he wakes up in a hospital with something over his eyes. Oh, look, it's Dr. Benson. Apparently, he had to go through surgery because of that monstrous explosion. He questions why he can't see, and he apparently feels a bandage over his eyes, and Dr. Benson has to say that some shrapnel flew into his eyes and caused retinal damage, and that's what blinded him. Over at the Kingpin's main office in his big, monstrous building, Clarity phases through the door in order to meet him. She's here to collect the cash from that giant dock explosion. Apparently, she hasn't got the money, but everyone else has. What, is the Kingpin sexist? Nah, it's just that she killed everyone except Jason Stone. And this is where I got that number of 12. This newspaper that was conveniently on his desk face up. Over at Jason's home, the blindness is really striking him. He even just has to use this cane just so he can walk around everywhere, which really sucks. Apparently the reason why he was walking is because somebody's at his door, and it's Dr. Frederick Marshall. Full name, Dr. Frederick Marshall. Jason doesn't know who he is, but come on, we're gonna know him for the next 40 minutes. Dr. Frederick's the owner of a company known as the Enneagram Society, and apparently, Jason's never heard of it. Dr. Frederick is trying to tell Jason about a prosthetic that can help him with his blindness. At first, Jason thought he's talking about his limbs, and he has all of his, but nah. And he switches it over to his sight because that's what he's really here for. A cure for his blindness. At first, Jason doesn't believe it because he's basically irreversibly blind. But Dr. Frederick decides to give him an entire scientific exam about how they're making a project for the blind to be able to see. And Jason's in on it, but Dr. Frederick has to come in. This is where Fade to Black sends us this little club, thankfully with no big Roblox boobies. And it's a very happening place, unlike that nightclub from the first film. And then Clarity decides to come into this place because why would she not want to? Or no, Smoke's here and she wants to talk some stuff to him. Probably specifically about business! Apparently Smoke has some crazy fears about Clarity being there alongside him. Clarity's needing some help, and she's enlisting Smoke for this deal. It's obviously going to be about killing Jason. Smoke fesses up about being done with the Kingpin and everything, which we've kind of already established upon in Hostage. He also has to care about his kids, which means Smoke must have been pounding. But Clarity argues that the money she's getting from this hit on Jason is gonna be a big deal for her. Eventually, Smoke agrees. Now stop crying and kill some people. Over at the Enneagram building, Jason's getting his blindness cured. The reason why Dr. Frederick chose Jason for this was because of his two daughters, who were 12 and 13, who eventually got robbed into that mob. This may suggest that the mobsters are doing more than just killing and robbing, which really sucks. After he gets the surgery, why, he can't believe it. He can finally see again. Woo! After that, Kingpin and Smoke have some negotiations. It's basically the negotiations on why he wants to come back into this department. While Clarity's trying to kill Jason, Smoke has to kill Clarity. We get a really nice editing joke where Smoke looks down and the camera just cuts to a bunch of guns on the ground, who are owned by Clarity for her hit on that building on the next day. And yeah, we cut to the next day next where we at the building. Clarity falls on green screens until she eventually grapples and breaks into the building. She takes no hesitation in killing the 2 security guards that are just trying to do their job and killing her. While cooking up some meth, Dr. Frederick is suspicious about the gunshots he's heard inside the building, and she has every single right to be, as the 2 security guards are and have established to be dead. But she has to walk through to kill more security guards, in which there certainly are more. There are 6 security guards in her path that she needs to kill in order to get to Dr. Frederick. Dr. Frederick runs down every single hallway in the building until he discovers the 6 dead security guards inside this hallway. There's only 4 here, but we see 1 later, and I managed to count 6 security guards earlier, so that's what I'm going off of. Eventually, walking all over those bodies, he manages to get to the door that Clarity's at. He walks in to no surprise. She's obviously got to be in there, right? Well, I'll tell you that she's not in here as far as the shot shows. Or she is, because she just walks in on the side of him. She's trying to get the information where Jason's location is. Dr. Frederick says no, and we cut to a camera because he's been shot in the back. And she fails to get his location because Dr. Frederick, he does not associate with any criminals. He tries to crawl away, but it's to no avail at all, since he gets shot 3 more times off screen, and eventually his blood splatters all over the photo of his kids. And it's revealed that he's been shot on the security camera. It's after this that we cut to Jason in bed. But that's not due to any Jason-related problems. It's due to the fact that Clarity somehow managed to get into his house. She almost plans to shoot the blind guy, but figures out that he's actually had a life past all of his police stuff, as he and his wife had been planning to have a baby before, she had died. He actually wakes up due to Clarity's sounds, so, she has to get out of there because, she's in a police officer's house. She puts her gun up further, and he has to put on his little blind seeing device in order to actually see what's going on inside of his room. You want to know what else happened? Cassie Green's death. Yeah, sure, it's on the news, but come on, this is not the last time we've counted Cassie Green on here, so it's fine. Although apparently this is the next morning because, come on, it's obviously light outside, and it appears he's getting a call from someone. It's the commissioner, because he's the commissioner. It appears the commissioner is at the hospital for some reason, and he needs to speak with Jason, although he will be there in 20 minutes. It appears from this nice editing that the commissioner's still on the phone, but come on, he's obviously inside the house, so it appears that Dr. Frederick had no enemies, so how could he and the 8 other people inside the building have possibly died? And due to the commissioner's precise pronoun using, it appears that the killer was a woman. Dr. Frederick only had one enemy, the mob, and Jason had ties to the mob, so the only reason they killed Dr. Frederick was to try to kill Jason, but the mob's already tried to kill Jason once, so why'd they go after Dr. Frederick? It appears that this was an assassination because Dr. Frederick had ties to Jason, and they wanted both of them to be dead, but they were only successful in killing Dr. Frederick, not Jason. And if we tie all of this together, the ultimate target was Jason. After their conversation ends, he gives him the CCTV tape, which Jason watches later that night. Oh no, it was Clarity and editing errors, oh god. And apparently he thinks that it's his deceased wife. So in his first attempt to destroy the mob, he looked at his outfit. Now it's only to go into an alleyway to fight these 3 mobsters. Well, Jason's only here for answers, but he's not leaving until he gets all of them. But that only causes the mobsters to start a fight scene where I believe all 3 of them die. I mean, come on, they're very obviously just on the ground, static, and plus even one of them has like blood on them, so it's pretty safe to say that all 3 of these guys are dead. And then he just starts doxing Clarity right then and there. But if they lie, they'll die too. But the mobster comes in clean and honest and says it's Mystic. aka Clarity. And we all know that the Kingpin wants to kill Clarity, but who's the Kingpin, you may ask? But the mobster doesn't know that info. And it appears he only shows his face to the higher-ups. After that entire order, we see Clarity looking down from the roof of a building. It appears she knows someone's behind them, but it's Jason, and he doesn't exactly want to kill her. It appears that Mystic knows everything because, like, he was also at the 2016 heist the previous year. And appears Mystic's now not part of the mob, huh? Jason already knows Clarity was the killer since, you know, she killed his friends. She also blinded him, which we saw at the beginning of the film, and he only needs a machine just to see stuff. But the worst part about all of this here is that apparently Jason knows who she is. We cut to a flashback right here, and as we see in this flashback, somebody has a gun and they just decide to shoot Sally, which in turn caused her and her unborn child to die, which I'll count right now, not later. And again, Jason needs answers to all of this. So like, why would his own deceased wife do this? And even Mystic herself is confused because she already knows that she already had another partner that, you know, was not Jason. And then she just has to say, like, no, I'm not your wife, what were you thinking? Jason tells Clarity just to kill him. Just come on and do it, but, you know, she does not want to do that, as if she did want to kill him, she would have done it the first time. The Kingpin has turned innocent people into killers for no reason, and he's basically started a war across the city of Detroit. But the only people who can stop that are her and Jason. And unless if he wants more innocent people to die, he and her have to partner up. Then she gives us an entire scientific essay about where the weapons are created in the Philippines, which does actually make sense since the Philippines was a colony of the United States from 1898 to 1946. So they would ship them over to the US, but Jason's just fiddling around with them guns, and, you know, she of course took the safety off of them because they don't need safety. Once the Kingpin gets his filthy little hands on the weapons, he recruits people in his mob to go do the killing. Or basically anything that fits his agenda, which could be a bank heist. So Clarity tells him to bring a warrant and all of his cops in order to stop that Kingpin. Then on another rooftop, the Commissioner, Jason, and Clarity meet to bring down some turtles. The folder is all the notes he's taken on the Kingpin, and some of the evidence we need just so he can get arrested. The Commissioner asks Jason how he got all this stuff, and the final result of all of this was from Clarity right here. Clarity tells him all the doxing info he needs to know about the office on the top of his building, and the Commissioner needs to know what's in there, which consists of a whole arsenal. The next morning, everything hits the fan, and we're in the film's final act, which starts with a conversation between Jason and Clarity. Another good one at that, which ends, yet again, with vans. This isn't looking good. Welcome to the main building with SG on it. And the raid begins similarly to Hostage, except that this is not a heist. After getting all the civilians out of the building, it's time to start raiding what's all inside and killing all of the goons. After breaking inside a window in the building, she immediately shoots a mobster, exposing some of his brain. Clarity's explanation for this kill is because he reached for his gun. The next step in all of this is to go through that door so they can reach more mobsters and ultimately the Kingpin's office. They hide behind some crates in order to hide from the fact that they're there, but Clarity knows everything of this place, so just let her do all the killing. One quickly dies right then and there, but the other one has some parkour shooting in order to get them down. She then shoots at another one for 3 in total. And it looks like they're all dead, right? But this shot with Claire on the ground shows one extra body in the background, so that's what I'm counting here. Let's see how the Commissioner's doing. Oh good, he's safe. And he even calls into the SWAT team that the area's clear, but he tells them to check it first, and they come back with the same results. It's also clear. But with an Among Us trash can, they see terror in front of them. A dude dying. It's actually the front of these 4 mobsters and 2 dead SWAT officers. It appears that Smoke is aware of this attack and is telling the Kingpin about it, but he's only like, nah, they've probably cut off the exits already. A mobster comes in running because of Mystics and Blind Justices in the Commissioner's attack, but Smoke's flabbergasted by this, and the mobster has to tell them about her and some guy with a cape. The Kingpin already knows about Jason's Blind Justice stuff because Clarity's betrayed them, and yeah. Now, but we gotta look at this dead SWAT officer as he's just laying dead on the ground, but hey, at least he's not like these 4 dead mobsters that they shut off screen. And yes, I know I saw a dying animation earlier, but come on, I was waiting till all the bodies show up. After those 5 dead bodies, we see Clarity and Jason running down a hallway where Jason says that they're closing in on the office. The Commissioner can hear him, but he's too busy shooting these mobsters and 2 dead bodies. But he's fighting by himself here. As I can see, I think 4 dead SWAT officers here. But thanks to a bit of some roadblocks turning, he's able to kill the 5 mobsters here. After a whole lot of running and shooting, they're finally able to get to the door that the Kingpin and Smoke are hanging out in. It appears the Commissioner got here first, as he's hanging in a gun lock with the Kingpin. It wasn't established earlier, but this guy is Sebastian Gates III, which I hinted at in the hostage kill count. Smoke is still flabbergasted that Clarity and Jason are hanging out, so Mystic also has to be flabbergasted that Smoke is here. For the past 15 years, the Kingpin has been building this up, and he has to take it down to the ground, and Jason, the Commissioner, and Clarity are his first victim, but the Commissioner is hesitating a whole lot, and the Kingpin says there's no point to that, but come on, he's listening to it, and he reminds Jason about his wife, and, well, it's flashback number 2 time! It's revealed that Smoke killed Sally as they're just in his house. A second mobster says that the cops are coming, but Smoke has to do something. It appears that Smoke wanted the finisher to have no witnesses, but a mobster has a mind, so he's like, nah, she's pregnant. So in order to have no witnesses, Smoke unknowingly killed Jason's wife right then and there. But I'm not counting her again, since this is the second time we've seen this flashback. Smoke says it was nothing personal, but Jason has other theories. And after Kingpin dismisses that theory, a little shootout occurs when Clarity is shot by the Kingpin, and Smoke turns on the Kingpin during this. So Jason and Smoke are killing the Kingpin, a sentence I thought I would never say. Smoke gets shot and killed during all of this. And thereafter, Jason kills the Kingpin, and therefore, he is officially dead. I didn't forget Commissioner Baker or Clarity, since they're still alive, only suffering some gunshots. The next day, Clarity wakes up inside what I think is an apartment. We cut to Jason just sitting there on the side of a building. Clarity soon comes in behind Jason, saying that he didn't particularly need to do that. He says that nothing in the world is fair, which I agree with. Jason tells Clarity that she must have loved Smoke, but she comes in with a fair response, saying that she just cared about him a whole lot. Jason says that everyone's done terrible things. I mean, just look at him. He's just being up thugs in tights. In the end, Jason and Clarity are heroes. I mean, they defeated a 15-year-strong mob, and she says that Jason opened her eyes. The movie ends with Jason and Clarity agreeing that they're going to be partners. Although there is a mid-credits scene that suggests that this and the Renegade take place at the same time, as the entire station is watching the events on the news. Inside the comments, they actually confirmed that Blind Justice and the Renegade take place at the same time. It's just that Blind Justice began basically like a day earlier, but we're at the end of the movie now, so how many people die when you don't turn a blind eye to it? Let's find out and get to the numbers. 53 people died in Blind Justice. The victims include 51 dudes and 2 women, giving us this mainly blue pie chart right here. With a runtime of 95 minutes, that left us with a kill on average every 1.79 minutes. I'll give the Amethyst flamethrower to the dock explosion. It sets up the story and culminates everything that went on in Hostage. And the fact that they only managed to do it in a week is impressive. Broken Pistol can get a Cassie Green since we only saw it on the news, but trust me, it's gonna get better next film. And that's it. Blind Justice was released in 2018 and was actually my favorite film of all time until Time Heroes came out, which I know this film is still very excellent, but that film is just perfect. You already know what's gonna go on July 4th, and that's when I'm covering Troubles Near the Border. But until then, I'm not James A. Janice. This has been The Parody. Hey, you stuck till the end. So, if you're watching this at the premiere or a few days after, I'm currently in Florida right now, so that's something. But, you know, like I always say, thanks for watching.